The twin moons hung low over the burning valley. Smoke rose like black rivers toward the stars, where giant ships still glowed faintly from the last battle. The air smelled of metal, ash, and lightning. Every sound echoed in the silence. The end of a war no one had truly won. Among the fallen machines and scorched ground lay a creature that should not exist anymore. A dragon, scales cracked, wings torn, heart barely beating. His name was SCIFI, the last of his kind. Once, his wings could darken the sun. Now they trembled like dying leaves. His golden eyes, once filled with fire, dimmed to dull amber. The humans had called him a monster. The soldiers had hunted him for years. And now, finally, they had found him. Dozens of drones hovered above, their red sensors scanning his broken body. Each was armed with plasma rounds, waiting for the command to finish him. SCIFI's breath came slow and heavy, each exhale releasing a puff of glowing mist, his life essence slipping away into the cold night. But no order came. No one dared approach. High above, in a control ship orbiting the battlefield, General Coron Vale stared at the creature on his holoscreen. His voice was sharp as steel. "Leave it. The dragon's dying. We'll retrieve the carcass when it's done breathing." He turned away, unaware that fate had already chosen another ending. Far below, in the shadow of a broken transport pod, a small figure moved, barefoot, shivering, hiding. Her name was Lyra, a 10-year-old girl, one of the refugee children left behind after the last colony fell. She had no family, no weapon, and no plan. Only a small metallic pendant around her neck that glowed faintly whenever she was afraid. Lyra watched the giant creature in silence. Every instinct told her to run, but something deep inside whispered to stay. The dragon wasn't roaring. He wasn't fighting. He was crying. Lyra could hear a deep, low sound. A rumble of pain that was not anger, but sorrow. The sound of someone who had lost everything. She stepped closer. One foot, then another. The ground trembled as SCIFI shifted slightly, his tail dragging weakly through the dust. A single golden eye opened, staring directly at her. The moment their eyes met, the world seemed to stop. The dragon's voice wasn't heard through ears. It echoed in her mind. "Little one, why do you stay?" Lyra froze. She didn't understand how, but she could hear him, feel him. His words were heavy, filled with centuries of memory. She whispered, voice trembling, "You're hurt. I can help." The dragon gave a weak, bitter laugh that sounded like thunder rolling over distant hills. "Help? No one helps dragons. They destroy us and fear us." Lyra shook her head. "I'm not them." The dragon's great eye softened slightly, but his breath grew weaker. Sparks flickered from his chest, where deep metallic veins glowed dimly, half living flesh, half ancient machine. He wasn't just a creature of scales. He was bioengineered, built long ago when humans and dragons shared the same world. Now that world was gone. Lyra looked around. The valley was filled with wreckage. Pieces of fallen ships, power cells, twisted armor. She ran from one pile to another, searching for anything useful. Finally, she found a cracked energy core still pulsing with blue light. It was heavy, nearly too heavy for her to lift, but she dragged it back toward the dragon. SCIFI watched her, confused. "Child, what are you doing?" "You need power," she said simply. "You're part machine, right? Maybe this can help." The dragon's gaze darkened. "You'll die if you touch that. It's unstable." Lyra hesitated, but she didn't stop. She placed the core near his chest and looked up at him. "Then tell me what to do." For a long moment, there was only silence. Then, for the first time in centuries, the dragon obeyed a human voice. "Hold the crystal. Place it here." Lyra climbed carefully up the dragon's side, her hands burning from the heat of his fading energy. She pressed the core against a metallic plate near his heart. The core hummed. Blue light flickered, then sputtered out. Nothing happened. Lyra's heart sank. She felt tears rising. "Please don't die." The dragon's voice grew faint. "It is my time." But then, the pendant around Lyra's neck began to glow brighter. The light pulsed, syncing with the dragon's heartbeat. Without knowing why, Lyra pressed the pendant against the core. There was a flash, a burst of white fire that lit up the night sky. The drones above reacted instantly. Alarms blared. The general's ship picked up a massive energy spike. What's happening down there? That dragon should be dead. On the ground, Lyra was thrown backward by the shockwave. The pendant shattered, and for a moment she couldn't see or breathe. When the light faded, she saw the dragon move. Not much, but enough. His chest was glowing again. His breathing steadied. SCIFI's voice returned, stronger now. What have you done? Lyra smiled weakly. I don't know. It just felt right. The dragon lowered his head, eyes filled with something ancient, respect, or maybe wonder. You are no ordinary child. Before they could speak again, the sound of engines filled the air. Dropships were descending from the clouds, armed soldiers ready to finish what the war had started. The dragon turned his head toward the sky, fire flickering in his throat again. They are coming for both of us. Lyra stood beside his great wing, clutching what was left of her pendant. Then we run, she said. The dragon's eyes burned brighter. Run? No, little one. We fly. And as the soldiers landed and the night split with explosions, a miracle happened. SCIFI, the last dragon, spread his broken wings, and with one mighty roar, rose from the ashes. Dust and fire whirled beneath him as the girl held tight, her eyes wide with fear and wonder. The world below shrank to a field of flames. For the first time in centuries, the sky belonged to a dragon again. But in the stars above, a far greater danger waited, one that even SCIFI did not see coming. The night sky was burning. Plasma beams cut through the clouds as SCIFI rose higher, his wings struggling against the pain. His body still shook from the battle, every breath like fire in his chest. Yet, for the first time in ages, he felt something more than pain. He felt hope, a small spark born from a human child. Lyra held tight to one of his neck ridges, her eyes wide as they flew through the storm of light and sound. Wind tore through her hair. Her heart pounded with fear and excitement. Below them, soldiers shouted, and drones followed, their red lights flashing like angry stars. Hold on, little one, the dragon growled, his voice rumbling deep through the air. They will not stop until we are ashes. Lyra looked down and saw the ships rising after them. Dozens of black machines, sleek and deadly, their engines glowing blue. They fired plasma bursts that streaked past her face, missing by inches. The dragon turned sharply, his massive wings cutting through the cold air. One of the drones exploded, lighting the clouds in orange fire. Inside the command ship, General Koran slammed his fist on the console. I want that dragon brought down, and whoever is with it, captured alive. His officers moved fast, deploying hunters and interceptors. On his screen, the dragon's energy signature glowed brighter than anything else in the sky. It wasn't just a creature anymore, it was a power source. Something ancient, valuable, and dangerous. SCIFI felt the burn in his wings worsen. His strength was fading again. I cannot keep this up much longer, he said, voice rough. Lyra looked around desperately. Far below, she saw a line of dark mountains glowing faintly at their peaks. There, the mountains. We can hide there. SCIFI's eyes followed her direction. Those are the Iron Peaks, he murmured. No human dares go there. The air is poisoned. The machines that live beneath are older than your kind. Lyra's grip tightened. Then it's the perfect place. With a deep breath, SCIFI folded his wings and dropped like a falling star. The drones followed instantly, their scanners screaming warnings as they dove into the toxic clouds. The world below turned green and dark. Strange lights flickered inside the mist. Old machines, long forgotten, still moving under the ground. The fall ended in a crash that shook the earth. SCIFI slammed into a rocky canyon, his body bleeding sparks. Lyra was thrown forward, rolling across the ground until she hit a broken wall of metal. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. Then she heard the dragon groan. "Skyfire!" she cried, running to him. His massive body lay half buried in rock, wings torn open again, but his eyes still burned. He looked at her with both pain and pride. "You are brave and foolish," he said softly. "I just didn't want them to catch us," she answered, brushing dust from her face. "They will find us soon," he said, his voice heavy. "Unless—" He looked around the canyon. Strange symbols were carved into the walls, glowing faintly blue. Lyra touched one of them, and it pulsed under her hand like a heartbeat. "What is this place?" she whispered. "An old dragon forge," Skyfire said. "Built by humans and dragons before the war. Before your kind forgot who we were." The air hummed with power as he spoke. Machines deep inside the canyon began to awaken, gears turning after centuries of silence. The ground trembled. Lyra stepped back as a metallic door slowly rose from the earth, revealing a hidden chamber filled with light. "Go inside," the dragon said. "You must see what lies there." "But what about you?" "My strength will return in time. The forge may hold what I have lost, and what you must find." Lyra hesitated, but then nodded. She walked toward the glowing chamber. The air inside was warm, humming softly. Walls of crystal showed visions. Humans riding dragons, cities floating in the sky, people and creatures working together. It was beautiful and strange, like a dream from another lifetime. At the center of the room stood a tall structure, a pedestal with a sphere of light floating above it. Lyra stepped closer. The light flickered and spoke, its voice soft and calm. "Welcome, child of the pendant." Lyra froze. You know me?" "I know what you carry," the voice said. The pendant was part of the Heartlink project, a bond between dragon and human, to share life energy. "It chose you." She remembered how the pendant had glowed when she touched Skyfire's chest. "So, I gave him my life." "Not your life," the voice said. "Your spirit. You are connected now. As he lives, you live. As he dies." Lyra's eyes widened. "No." The voice faded, leaving only the soft hum of the forge. She ran back outside, her heart pounding. Skyfire was watching her with quiet understanding. "You know now," he said gently. "If you die, I die too," she whispered. "Yes," he said. "The bond cannot be broken." Lyra clenched her fists. "Then we fight together." The dragon gave a deep rumbling laugh, tired, but proud. "You are indeed the most unexpected hero." Above them, the sky lit up again. The military had found their location. Explosions shook the mountains as drones swarmed through the toxic clouds. General Karan's voice echoed from their loudspeakers. "Surrender the creature and the girl will live." Lyra looked up, fear flashing in her eyes. "They're here." Skyfire's eyes glowed gold once more. "Then let them come." He spread his wings, fire dripping from the edges. The forge behind them began to power up, feeding energy into his body. The old symbols on the canyon walls blazed bright blue. Lyra stood beside him, gripping a piece of metal like a sword. "We fight?" she asked. "We rise," the dragon replied. And when the first drone entered the canyon, Skyfire roared, a sound so powerful it shook the sky. The mountain trembled. The forge awakened fully, and the legend of the dying dragon truly began. The mountains shook with thunder as the sky filled with fire. Drones screamed through the clouds, raining plasma toward the canyon. The old forge below the surface came alive, glowing with deep blue veins of light. Dust and sparks swirled around the dragon's massive body as he spread his wings again, his scales reflecting the ancient glow. Lyra stood beside him, breathing hard, heart racing. She had never seen anything so powerful or terrifying. Skyfire's wounds were glowing now, not with blood, but with light from the forge. The ancient energy of the dragons was returning to him. "They come fast," Lyra whispered. "Then we meet them fast," Skyfire growled, fire burning deep in his chest. Above them, the first drone appeared sleek, black, and deadly. It fired 2 plasma bolts that exploded against the rocks. The blast threw Lyra backward, but Skyfire shielded her with his wing. His roar rolled across the valley like a storm. "Stay behind me," he commanded. But Lyra wasn't listening. Her pendant was gone, yet she could still feel the dragon. His heartbeat, his anger, his fear. Somehow the bond was inside her now. She could feel his energy, like a second pulse within her own body. She raised her hand toward the nearest drone, and to her shock, a flash of golden light burst from her palm. The drone spun out of control and crashed into the canyon wall. Skyfire's eyes widened. "The bond is awakening," he said softly. Lyra looked at her hand, trembling. "I don't know how I did that." "Do not fear it," said the dragon. "It is our link. My fire flows through you now." The next wave of drones appeared, 5, then 10, then 20. They surrounded the canyon, moving like a swarm. Lyra's fear returned, but Skyfire's voice filled her mind again. "Focus, child. Let your heartbeat match mine." She closed her eyes. The sound of the forge grew louder. The symbols on the canyon walls pulsed in rhythm with their breaths. The world seemed to slow down. Then Skyfire moved. With a mighty roar, he launched into the air, wings slicing through the smoke. Plasma beams chased him, but he spun and twisted with impossible speed. His fire burned bright, cutting through the swarm of machines. Explosions lit the sky like stars being born. Lyra watched from the ground, her hand still glowing faintly. Every time Skyfire was hit, she felt the pain, a sharp ache in her chest, but she didn't stop watching. She couldn't. The bond was alive and she was part of it now. Inside the command ship, General Karan watched the battle unfold. His jaw clenched in disbelief. That thing should be dead by now. How is it doing that? A young officer hesitated before speaking. "Sir, our scanners show 2 energy sources. The dragon and the girl. They're connected somehow." Karan turned slowly, his eyes cold. "Then separate them. Capture the girl alive. Kill the dragon." Orders went out instantly. The next wave of ships prepared their capture nets, energy traps strong enough to hold a starbeast. Back in the canyon, Lyra suddenly heard the deep hum of engines above her. She looked up and saw a massive ship descending through the clouds. The Titan Hawk, the general's personal vessel. Its underbelly opened, revealing a glowing energy cage ready to drop. "Skyfire, they're trying to trap you." The dragon turned sharply midair, but he was too late. The cage burst open, slamming around him in a flash of blue energy. Skyfire roared in agony as lightning tore through his body. His wings folded. His fire went out. "No!" Lyra screamed. She ran forward as the dragon crashed into the canyon floor, shaking the ground. The energy cage held tight, wrapping around his massive frame like chains of light. Soldiers dropped from the ship, their armor gleaming. "Stay where you are, girl," one shouted, pointing a rifle at her. Lyra didn't move. Her heart was pounding, not just her own, but Skyfire's too. She could feel his pain, his anger, his fire trying to break free. The energy inside her grew stronger, hotter. "You hurt him," she whispered. "Take her down," the soldier ordered. But before they could move, the ground beneath them cracked. A blast of golden fire erupted from Lyra's chest, spreading like a wave. The soldiers were thrown back. The energy cage around the dragon shattered like glass. Skyfire lifted his head slowly, fire returning to his eyes. "You called to me," he said softly. "I didn't mean to," she whispered, breathing hard. "You meant to save me," he replied. "And that is enough." The dragon rose, wings glowing brighter than ever. He turned his gaze toward the hovering ship. "General Karan," he growled, "you hunted dragons for too long. Now you face the last one." Skyfire launched himself upward with a roar that shook the mountains. Lyra held onto his neck, eyes wide as they soared straight toward the Titan Hawk. Plasma cannons fired, but his fire burned through them. He tore through the ship's outer hull like paper, leaving trails of flame in the night sky. Inside the ship, alarms screamed. The general stumbled as the entire vessel tilted. He looked through the smoke and saw the dragon's golden eyes glaring at him through a broken viewport. "Impossible," he whispered. "No." The dragon's voice thundered. "Humanity forgot us. But we remember." With one final burst of fire, Skyfire destroyed the ship's core. The explosion lit the entire sky, blue and gold fire swirling together like a storm of rebirth. Hours later, the fire faded. The wreck of the Titan Hawk burned silently in the distance. Skyfire landed near the ruins of the forge, his body weak again but alive. Lyra slid off his back, exhausted but smiling. "We did it," she said softly. The dragon looked at her with pride. "We survived," he corrected. "The war is not over yet." She tilted her head. "What do you mean?" Skyfire looked toward the horizon. Dark clouds were gathering again, and inside them, strange shapes moved. Larger than ships, older than machines. "The humans were not the only ones hunting me," he said quietly. Lyra followed his gaze, fear and curiosity mixing in her heart. "Then who are they?" Skyfire's eyes burned brighter. "The ones who created us both." The valley was silent again. Smoke rose into the sky, where pieces of the Titan Hawk still burned like falling stars. The air smelled of fire, metal, and victory, but also fear. Lyra sat beside Skyfire, her small hands resting on the dragon's cracked scales. He was breathing, but each breath came slow and heavy. "You need to rest," she said softly. "There is no rest now," Skyfire replied, his voice rough. "They will come for us again. But not the humans." Lyra frowned. "Not the humans? Then who?" The dragon looked toward the dark horizon, where the clouds glowed faintly blue. "The Makers," he whispered. "The ones who built me, and your kind." Lyra didn't understand. "Built? You mean, you weren't born?" "Long ago," Skyfire said. "The Makers created dragons as guardians, living weapons made to protect their worlds. But humans were their children. When the Makers left, humans forgot, and turned their guardians into enemies." Lyra stared at him in silence, trying to take it all in. "If they created both of us, why are they coming back now?" Skyfire's golden eyes narrowed. "Because they have found what they lost, the heart link. You." The wind changed. A strange hum filled the air, deep and electric, like the sound of 1,000 machines waking up. The ground trembled beneath them. In the distance, lights appeared in the clouds, circles of silver that opened like giant eyes. From them descended dark, smooth ships, unlike any human craft. They moved silently, almost gracefully, their surfaces glowing with patterns of living energy. Lyra's breath caught in her throat. "They're beautiful. They are dangerous," Skyfire said grimly. "Do not be fooled by their beauty." One of the ships hovered above the canyon. A beam of white light shone down, scanning the ground. When it touched Lyra, the light flickered, and a voice echoed in her mind. "Subject located. Human-child hybrid link confirmed. Heart link active." Lyra gasped, stepping back. "They can hear me. In my head." Skyfire growled, fire flickering between his teeth. "Stay behind me." The ship lowered further, and a tall figure emerged from the beam, neither human nor machine. Its body shimmered like glass and metal fused together. Its face was calm, almost gentle, but its eyes glowed bright white. "Designation: Lyra," it said in a voice that was both male and female. "You are not supposed to exist." Lyra's heart pounded. "What do you mean?" "The heart link was destroyed thousands of cycles ago. No human was meant to bond with a dragon again. You have reactivated forbidden code." Skyfire's tail struck the ground with a loud crack. "She saved my life. She did what your laws forbade. She chose compassion." The figure turned its glowing gaze toward the dragon. "You are Skyfire, last of the Guardian line. You disobeyed your final command, to destroy humanity." The dragon's voice rumbled like thunder. "Because I saw their courage again, in her." The figure tilted its head slightly, as if studying them both. "You both are anomalies," it said. "But the Makers do not tolerate errors. Suddenly, the beam of light brightened. The air burned. Skyfire roared as energy surged around him, forcing him to his knees. Lyra ran forward, trying to shield him. "Stop! Please, don't hurt him!" she cried. The figure's eyes glowed brighter. "He is unstable. The link must be erased." Lyra shouted. "If you destroy him, you'll destroy me too." The figure paused, analyzing her words. "Confirmed. Heartlink bond detected. Termination will result in dual loss." "Then you can't kill him." "We can. But we do not wish to. You will both come with us. The Makers will decide your fate." Skyfire's wings flared weakly. "I will not be their prisoner again." "Resistance is not logical," the figure replied calmly. "You cannot win." Lyra looked at the glowing ship above, at the endless sky filled with alien light. She felt fear, but also something else. Strength. The same fire she had felt before. She took a step forward. "Maybe not," she said quietly. "But we'll still try." Before the figure could react, she reached out her hand toward the forge wall. The glowing symbols answered her, pulsing with golden light. Energy rushed through her body and through Skyfire's. The dragon roared, breaking free of the beam that held him. Fire burst from his wings, burning bright as the sun. The alien figure was thrown backward, crashing into the ship's beam. The ship's hull cracked, light flickering across its surface. Alarms echoed through the sky. "Unacceptable," the voice boomed. "Heartlink power exceeding safety limits." Skyfire lifted Lyra onto his back and took flight once more, the air shaking beneath his wings. The alien ships turned, chasing them through the storm. Plasma beams and energy lances filled the sky. "Hold tight," he shouted. They soared through lightning and fire, weaving between glowing clouds. Lyra could feel the energy burning inside her, a force neither human nor dragon. "Skyfire," she yelled over the wind. "If they built you, how can we stop them?" "By becoming what they never understood," he roared. "Free." The alien ships surrounded them, their lights locking on. Lyra pressed her hand against his scales. The golden fire surged once more, growing brighter and hotter until even the clouds turned gold. The ships fired at once, and everything exploded in a flash of light. When the light faded, the sky was empty. The alien ships hung silent, their systems flickering. In the clouds, only one faint trail of golden fire remained, vanishing into the distance. Far below, General Koran watched from the ruins of his base, his eyes wide. "The aliens, they came back," he whispered. "And she's with the dragon." He turned to his surviving officers. "Prepare a message to command. The war has changed. Now, it's not just ours." The sky was quiet again, too quiet. Golden clouds drifted across a horizon filled with smoke and broken stars. High above the mountains, Skyfire flew low, his wings weak and torn once more. Lyra sat behind his neck, her small hands gripping his scales tightly, her eyes wide with fear and wonder. The fire that had saved them was gone now. Only faint sparks glowed beneath the dragon's skin. We escaped," Lyra whispered. Skyfire's deep voice answered slowly. "For now. But the Makers never stop. They will follow us until the link is broken, or until one of us dies." Lyra looked down. "Why do they want us dead? We didn't do anything wrong." "Because we are proof," Skyfire said. "Proof that their perfect design can be changed. They made us to obey. But you and I, we chose." Lyra stared at the empty sky ahead. "Then we'll show them what choice means." The dragon turned his head slightly, a faint smile in his ancient eyes. Spoken like a true warrior. They reached a long valley, silent, filled with old ruins. The ground was black glass, melted long ago by fire. Towers of rusted metal rose like bones from the earth. It was once a human base destroyed during the last Great War. Skyfire landed heavily, his claws cracking the stone beneath him. His chest glowed faintly blue, the energy inside him almost gone. "I must rest," he said. Lyra climbed down carefully. She looked around the ruins, then found a half-buried bunker door. With effort, she pulled it open. Inside, the lights still flickered, ancient generators humming weakly. She turned back to the dragon. "You'll be safe here." "Safe," Skyfire murmured. "No, little one. Nowhere is safe anymore." Hours passed. Lyra searched through the bunker, finding scraps of old food, a water tank, and an old data screen still working. As she touched the screen, it flickered to life, showing an old recording. A man appeared, tall, with gray hair and tired eyes. He wore a uniform with the symbol of the Old Human Alliance. "This message is for anyone who survives," he said. "If the Makers ever return, you must find the core of origin. It's hidden beneath the planet's crust. Only a bonded pair, dragon and human, can activate it. It's the only weapon strong enough to stop them." Lyra froze. The core of origin. She ran outside. "Skyfire, I found something." The dragon lifted his head weakly. "The core," he murmured. "It is real, then. We have to find it. It can stop them." Skyfire's golden eyes dimmed for a moment. "The core is powerful but dangerous. It does not choose easily. Many tried before, and none returned." Lyra's voice grew stronger. "Then we'll be the first." The dragon stared at her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Very well. But first we need allies. The humans will not believe us easily." Far away, above the clouds, the Makers' ships floated in silent formation. Inside the largest vessel, the glowing figure from before knelt before a massive holographic form, brighter, larger, more ancient. "Report," the great voice said. "The Heartlink survived, Master. The human and the dragon escaped." "Unacceptable," the ancient voice replied. "The link threatens the code of creation. Both must be erased before the chain spreads." "They seek the core of origin," the figure said, the holographic being paused for a moment. "Then we must reach it first." 1,000 ships powered up at once, their lights flaring like stars. The hunt had begun again. Back on the planet, Lyra and Skyfire flew toward the human city of Nova Prime, the last surviving fortress of mankind. The sky was red with smoke and lightning. As they approached, alarms rang from the walls below. "Attention, unidentified creature. Turn back or be destroyed." Dozens of anti-air cannons turned toward them. Lyra stood up on Skyfire's back and shouted into the wind. "Wait, we're not enemies. I'm human." The soldiers below hesitated. The dragon circled slowly, wings glowing faintly. Then, a voice crackled through the comms. "This is Commander Vale. Bring them in." Skyfire landed carefully on a landing pad surrounded by soldiers. Weapons pointed in every direction. Lyra climbed down, hands raised. "Don't shoot," she cried. "We're here to help." General Karan Vale stepped forward. His armor cracked, his face covered in dust. The same man who once ordered the dragon's death now stood face to face with him again. "You," he said coldly. "I watched that creature destroy my ship." Lyra stepped between them. "He saved me. He saved all of us. The Makers are coming. They're already here," the soldiers murmured. The general's eyes narrowed. "The Makers? That's just an old myth." "No," Skyfire rumbled, his voice shaking the air. "They have returned, and they will destroy everything, human and dragon alike." The ground trembled suddenly. Outside the city walls, the sky turned white. Massive beams of light struck the ground, tearing open the mountains. From the holes rose the dark ships of the Makers, descending like gods. Karan turned pale. What is that?" "Your myth," Skyfire growled. "Come to finish what they started." The general looked at the dragon and then at Lyra. "What do we do?" Lyra lifted her chin. "We fight. Together." Skyfire spread his wings, his body glowing gold again. "Then let the war of the Makers begin." The sky erupted in fire as the first wave of alien ships attacked. Humans and dragons that had hidden for centuries rose from the mountains, answering Skyfire's call. For the first time in thousands of years, the old bond between man and dragon was reborn, not by creation but by choice. The world was burning, Fire spread across the sky like rivers of light. The Maker's ships filled the air, raining destruction upon the last human city, Nova Prime. Dragons and humans fought side by side, their roars and weapons echoing through the storm. The ancient bond had returned, but even united, they were losing. Skyfire's wings were torn. Smoke poured from his mouth as he struck one ship after another, his golden flames fading with each attack. Lyra clung to his neck, her face covered in ash and tears. "Skyfire, you're hurt," she cried. "It doesn't matter," the dragon growled. "We must reach the core before they destroy everything." He rose higher, above the clouds, where the sky was split open by lightning and fire. Beneath them, the city crumbled. Above them, a massive ship, the Maker Prime vessel, hovered like a dark god. From its center, a beam of light descended toward the planet's crust. "They've found the core," Lyra shouted. Skyfire's eyes burned with fury. "Then we end it now." They dived through the storm, dodging beams of plasma and debris. The air screamed around them. Explosions bloomed everywhere. Lyra could feel her heart pounding like thunder. Her hands glowed faintly, the bond between her and Skyfire burning brighter than ever before. "We have to go faster," she shouted. "Hold on." The dragon's wings ignited in golden fire. The storm bent around them as they pierced through the enemy ranks. Dozens of ships turned and fired, but the flames shielded them. A living storm of light. They crashed through the Maker vessel's armor, tearing through metal and smoke, until they reached its heart. A giant chamber filled with glowing cables and a single floating crystal core. In the center stood the Master Maker, a being of pure energy, ancient and calm. "You cannot stop the code," the voice said. "Life was meant to obey, not choose." Lyra stepped forward, trembling but fierce. "You're wrong. Life was meant to feel." The Master Maker tilted its head. "Then you will feel your end." It raised its hand. A storm of energy shot toward them. Skyfire roared and spread his wings, shielding Lyra with his body. The blast struck him full force. His scales cracked, his light dimmed. "No!" Lyra screamed. Skyfire fell to his knees, smoke rising from his chest. "Go to the core," he said weakly. "End this." "I can't do it without you." "Yes, you can. We are one heart, remember?" Lyra's eyes filled with tears. She turned and ran to the core. The crystal pulsed like a living heart. She placed her hand on it. It burned, but she didn't let go. "Please, hear me," she whispered. "We don't want control. We just want to live, to choose, to hope." The core flashed bright gold. It responded to her bond with Skyfire. The Master Maker screamed, "No, the code cannot change." Lyra looked back at Skyfire. "Together," she said. He smiled faintly. "Together." The bond between them exploded with light. Golden energy surged through the ship, through the sky, through the planet itself. The core of origin awakened. Outside, every Maker ship froze in the air. Their lights dimmed, then turned gold. One by one, they fell silent, drifting like dead stars. The sky cleared. The storm faded. The world grew quiet again. When the light faded, the great ship was gone. Only a golden crater remained, glowing softly in the night. From the dust, a single dragon's wing lay still. Beside it, a small hand reached out. Lyra's. She opened her eyes slowly. The air shimmered with golden dust. "Skyfire," she whispered. A warm wind brushed her cheek. In it, she heard his voice. "I am always with you." She smiled weakly, looking at the sky that was finally free. "We did it." Above her, the stars glowed brighter, as if the universe itself was watching. Years later, the story of the girl and the dragon spread across every colony, every planet. People called it the last heart link. They said the girl had tamed a dying dragon, and together, they saved the soul of the galaxy. And on quiet nights, when the wind carried a faint sound of wings through the air, people swore they could still hear a dragon's roar in the stars.